Yeah, Carolina, we've been missing you, girlfriend. Where where is this woman? But I'm glad you are here. Welcome back. Have you been on since Powerhouse? No, no.
I
Okay.
haven't. So I was exhausted and had appointments all day that Saturday because I booked them during Powerhouse. And then last weekend just was like a whole whirlwind of a whole bunch of other stuff. So have not been on.
Feel that. Yeah, she's been busy. Yep, she's been busy right in business. I love that. Ashley's here. Good morning, Ashley. All right. I have a few different notes. It might end up being one big conversation, or it might be I go off on one tangent. Um, but I've got some thoughts. Got some thoughts to share with y'all today. I do want to welcome Bill. Bill, is this your first time on Saturday
Yes, I'm a
Accountability?
Saturday virgin.
All right, Saturday Virgin in the house. I love it. It sounds like you're gonna fit right in with this squad. Um, Cool. So I think everybody else has been here at least once before. Um, and another quiet morning. I'm gonna mute out for 1 second while I sneeze. Nope, nope. The sneeze god said no. Okay. Um, I had a mm, a challenging conversation with my niece. I'm not going to go into too much of the details around the premise of the conversation, just to protect um, her privacy and confidentiality. But my niece is 21. She is 13 months sober. She has struggled with mental health, sexual abuse. She's been in rehab twice. She's lost three friends very, very tragically at very young ages. One to suicide, one to a drug overdose, and one to a car accident. And yesterday was the death anniversary of her best friend. When I was 17, my best friend passed away in a car accident. And so her and I have gotten really close over the years. And as she has both struggled, but also stepped out of. These are the components of her story that she shares publicly. So I feel comfortable sharing those bits of it. And then there's some underlying things that have made her healing journey even more complex, right? And healing journeys are never simple. If anybody's actually been on a healing journey, if anybody's actually like done the work, that's it's not easy. It's not fun. It's very dark. It's not rainbows and butterflies to just like transform, right? We talk about that a lot here. And the conversation that I had with her, it was one of these moments where I was speaking to her but the words coming out of my mouth were 100% for me. Like I felt like I was channeling the universe and basically just saying what I needed, like reflected back to me. This is why we say, like, it's a really, like, once you start mentoring and coaching somebody, that is the best way to learn and reflect and grow because how many times have you guys given advice to a friend, to a team member, and yet in the back of your head, I'm like, I need to take my own advice. Like I know what I'm saying is true and real, but it's not necessarily what I'm following or what I'm practicing in this moment or what I'm consistent with. And so it was just a really tough moment where I got to reflect back to her that something that what she was feeling very deeply about how somebody else was treating her. And she was really just wanting them to be responsible for mistakes that they have made, for pain that they had caused. But what was happening is that she wasn't being responsible for her part in it. She wasn't being responsible for the patternistic behavior that she was setting herself up to be hurt, to be upset, to be disappointed. And so, what this was really about was the self-sabotage. And you guys have probably heard, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And this is very easy. We can apply this to anything in life. And it's very easy to apply this in business, right? How many times are we not buying enough leads or not doing enough dials? And then we're like mad that we're not hitting 10K weeks. Like, what? I was looking at my numbers this morning and I'm like, okay, what is it going to take to do based on my numbers? What would it take to do consistent 10K weeks? And I haven't even touched the amount of activity or the amount of leads purchased that I would need to touch based on my skill set, right? The numbers are a reflection of my current skill set, what I'm good at, what I need to get better at. I haven't even touched that. So I can't be mad that I'm not hitting consistent 10K weeks if I have yet to do the thing that I need to do to get there, right? And so when it comes to self-sabotage and the responsibility and the patternistic behaviors, you guys, it all is about awareness. And I'm sure we've all had that moment, right? Where we just like, we start to see something like, oh, that that's a thing I keep doing. And this is where I think having a mentor that you work closely with, having a running buddy, having a coach, having a therapist, having somebody who's going to be really, really honest with you and reflect back to you, like, you're doing that thing again. Like, remember last time you did that thing and the same thing happened? Because I see it in business, in life, in relationships, in friendships. I see it all over the place. And the reason we see this all over the place is because it's how our brain is wired. So, Bill, I know you're new. Most everybody else here kind of has an idea of like the work that I do when it comes to working with our brains to get the results and to make the progress and to do the work. But our brains are literally wired and programmed for self-sabotage, right? Our brain's job is to keep us safe, a part of our brain. And that part of our brain is very, 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 very strong. And it's the part that says, no, don't do that new thing. Don't make that change because while it's the familiar hell, right? Your brain would rather you be in a familiar hell than risk the chance of dying, which is what your brain thinks is going to happen anytime you make a change, anytime you get uncomfortable, anytime you put yourself in a new environment. It is new, it is vulnerable, and thus you could die. And so your brain doesn't want you to do that. It is a survival mechanism. And so put a one in the chat. Ooh, we made it 8 minutes in and we haven't put any numbers in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you, in some area of your life, and particularly in your business, if you are living in a familiar hell. Maybe like a one and then drop a two specifically if you can see that in your business. If you are likely unconsciously, but if you are unconsciously or maybe consciously choosing your familiar hell over just doing the thing that you know could get you out of that, even if it was scary, even if it required change, even if it required you to become a new version of yourself, even if it required months of discomfort. Right. Okay. So we're all in it and we're all experiencing it in our business. Habit change. Absolutely. I always say this as a coach, started as a health coach, and then I went into transformational leadership coaching before I came here. And really all coaching is habit forming, right? Like all we need to do, all a coach's job is to help you stop doing the things that are not supporting your goals and to help you to create the habits that are going to. And there's obviously a lot more that goes into that. We can go into the beliefs and the stories and the trauma and all the things that we need to uncover and uproot and release. But ultimately, to make a change in our life, we have to stop doing the things that are not serving us and start doing the things that we're going to. It's habit creation, right? It's dismantling some habits, creating new habits. And so if any of you are brave enough to put in the chat, what is your familiar hell? What is the thing that you are choosing to feel, to do, a space that you're willing to be in, even though you know it's not supporting you to getting you to your goals? And this is something too that w- part of the work that I do is what's it's speaking to the subconscious part of you. And so some of you have messaged me, hours or days after this call to be like, oh my gosh, that thing just clicked. Or, oh, I just saw, I just saw the thing that you were talking about. What happens when you start to hear this or read about this kind of stuff or research this is that your brain starts looking for it. And so you might hours from now, later tonight, tomorrow, the next day, see something and be like, oh my gosh, this is what she was talking about. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Um, all right, Maura's got building momentum and then coasting and having to this. I have a really good example and story about that. Phone distractions. Oh my gosh, yes. Anything pulling me away from my dial. Well, yeah, distractions and distractions and distractions, right? Um, I think that this is something where, here we really like to talk about, the kind of the big heady concepts, but then breaking them down into like the tactical, okay, like, well, now what? Like, now I have this information, but what do I do with it? And today, really, what we're focusing on though is the awareness. And so, for those of you who are sharing in the comments about that familiar hell and what that looks like, feels like, I want to just like pivot now, drop in the chat or think about, or if you've got a notebook and want to journal it, what is literally one thing you could do differently moving forward, that even if it was just a small, maybe it's big, but what is one thing you could start doing? So we basically just talked about things that we could stop doing, right? Stop picking up the phone, right? There are apps that literally won't let you use apps on your phone during your dial blocks or during your productivity hours. So what's one thing you could start doing? Opal. Yep. I've heard really good things about Opal. Yep. Do not disturb. Yep. I love this. Yep. YouTube needs to go on that Opal app. Yeah. It's so easy, right? It's like, oh, the great thing about being an entrepreneur and owning my own business is that I can be flexible with my time and like I can do this thing that comes up instead of dialing and I'll just dial later. Yeah, no, you probably won't do that. Smaller targets so the buildup doesn't have to be so exhausting and much more sustainable. I think this has come up a few times on accountability in the past week, like small wins. Celebrating the small wins and setting those smaller targets. I know most people call them goals. Maura had a huge epiphany recently about targets, right? And goals, and I don't care what you call them, intentions, targets, goals, whatever word resonates with you. But having those smaller goals. Yeah, putting a time constraint on YouTube. I would say delete YouTube. Get it off your phone. Like go see what happens. For 30 days, take YouTube off your phone. See what happens. Then every time you go to look for YouTube, I don't know, listen to a podcast by Ed Milet or something. Um, Self-talk to follow discipline schedule set, maintaining a good schedule and sticking to it. Okay, let me ask you this. You guys all know. You all answer. As soon as I said, put something in the chat that you don't want to be doing, put something in the chat that you want to start doing. Yeah, there are good speakers on YouTube, but you can also find them if you had to get rid of YouTube. If YouTube went away tomorrow, you could still find them on podcasts. You could still find them on their social media channels. Or read a book by them, right? But no, I think the speakers, there's definitely incredible speakers. I'd rather eat a book or read a book, Carolina. I'm gonna eat a book. Yep.
We're eating books.
Yeah, we're eating books now. We've turned the corner, you guys. I love it. So here's the thing, you guys. You all answered that question very, very quickly. What's stopping you? Why isn't that done already? What's in the way? The power of the pause. I'm gonna let you sit in that. Why isn't it happening already? Why is YouTube on your phone? Why are you setting big, enormous targets that disappoint you in the end? Like why are we doing this? It's a habit. comfortable. Mm-hmm. I don't want to keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Comfort. Yeah. So here's what's really, really powerful, you guys. You, as soon as you have the awareness of how your brain can work against you, you then have the choice to become bigger than it. You can tell your brain that you're good, that you actually don't need its help keeping you, like, this isn't going to kill you. Literally, I will say to myself, thank you, brain. Thank you for keeping me safe. I would be dead without you already, right? Like, I need this part of my brain I don't want this part of my brain to abandon me, right? This is the part of my brain that keeps me alive every single day. But for this specific thing, we're good. And I need you to trust me. And you can come along for the ride, but you're not going to be in the driver's seat. You can be in the back seat, but you're going to sit down and you're going to shut up, right? This could be your brain you're talking to. This could be your fear you're talking to. This could be the trolls on the internet, whatever it is. Like, you just got to sit down and shut up. I don't want you to leave. I still want to, I still want you to be on this journey with me. But when we can have the awareness, and your brain also, you might be thinking about it right now. This time tomorrow, your brain will let you forget. It will leave your brain because it doesn't want you to make the change. But once you have the awareness, you now have a choice. When it's all happening unconsciously, you do not have a choice. Your unconscious brain, 90, they say 94 to 96. I average it out at 95. 95% of what we say, of what we do, of the thoughts we think, of how we see the world is based on the part of our brain we can't consciously be aware of or control unless we do this work to become aware of it. Now, say of that 95%, if you could gain 0.001% more awareness, you could drastically, radically transform your life. 0.001% awareness to say, this is where I'm self-sabotaging. This is where I can just make a small tweak, and in a matter of days or weeks or months, I will see the result. And I know we're a little over time. I'm going to share one quick thing of just a real example of this that came up in a conversation with Maura. For those of you who are here, you know that Maura and I talk all day, every day. We are each other's therapists. I said something. I was word vomiting into a Voxer, and I said something that I literally said it and then I stopped talking because it came up and out, and it was something that I didn't realize was the reason that I have been holding myself back. We were having a conversation about being in survival mode and how I've been in a survival mode for a good 5 years. Single mom, birth trauma, financial distress, all the things that have kept me in this survival mode, right? Every single day, I just got to get through the day. Every single month, I just got to make enough money to pay my bills, right? And what happens, and what I was able to see, and now I can't unsee it, is that I have used that survival mode as an excuse. Because when we're in survival mode, we can't vision and daydream and think big and be in abundance when you're in survival mode. And so my brain has attached to survival mode so that because I don't need to be in survival mode anymore. I've been in it for a long time, and so I'm operating and I'm programmed to be in survival mode, but I don't actually need to be in survival mode anymore. I actually have the spaciousness and the money and the time and the things that I need to think forward, to vision, to dream big, to step into abundance. But my brain is still like, no, you can't do any of that. You're in survival mode. You just got to get through the day. You just got to get through the month. And so I have been telling myself unconsciously that because I'm in survival mode, I can't XYZ. It has been the reason. It has been the crux. It has been the thing. And in the past few days since I've said that, I have seen so many ways where I'm like, oh, that thing I've been telling myself I can't do until XYZ happens, until I'm no longer in survival mode. I actually can do that thing today. I could do that thing this month. I could buy that thing today. And it has taken me years of being in that wiring to see how my brain has held on to that story, that belief for way longer than it needed to. And it is 100% like I can look at that and be like, that has held me back. That is the reason that X, Y, and Z haven't been able to happen. And while I feel like I have felt like a victim, and I'm only now able to put the words to it. I have been feeling like a victim to my circumstances, and those circumstances are made up. The circumstances I feel like I am a victim to are not real. What circumstances in your life, in your business, are you feeling like a victim to, but they're not even real? This awareness, looking at this, pulling the mirror back, finding a coach, working with your mentor or a best friend. Maura and I talk about this all day. If we didn't have a space where we could just like go in and dump the things on our brain and vent the things out, there are so many light bulbs that we would never have the opportunity of turning on because if we didn't have that safe space. You need a safe space. I'm not saying go get a running buddy. There's different theories, right, in this company of whether or not running buddies work or not. You need a safe space to be able to unpack this. And maybe to start, it's just your journal. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's voice memos. If you don't like journaling, I've had clients who are like, I cannot journal for the life of me. I sit down, I have all these thoughts in my head. I pick up the pen and I don't know what to write. Cool. Put voice notes on. Turn a voice memo on while you're driving and talk to yourself and record it. You don't even ever have to go back and listen to it because that's not the point. But recording it, there's a level of accountability. And I will tell you, if you don't record it, you're going to wish you recorded it. And if you record it, you're never going to go back and listen to it. So, this was like three conversations mashed into one. But I just want to invite you guys. And like, this is me. Part of me is not talking to the conscious part of your brain that is here in front of me with your eyes open, looking at the camera, but to the part of your brain that is running the show. 0.00. I actually think I might have missed the zeros, like 0.00, whatever. Point lots of zeros, one of a fraction of awareness to one story, to one belief, to one form of self-sabotage will change everything. And I'm throwing my sweatshirt. I'm so into this. There, however many zeros I'll find the exact figure. But that is all I got for you, friends. I unfortunately do not have any time for Q&A or additional support today. My daughter, can hear her stirring. I'm surprised she isn't up by now. But I'm gonna go have a slow, beautiful morning with my daughter. We're on an off day today. So I hope this message reached you. I hope that at least some of you hear this and take this and run with this. And as always, open door in terms of reaching out on GroupMe. I respond when I can respond. But if you want to share what has come up for you, if you want to share those thoughts, those beliefs, those ways that you're self-sabotaging, please don't ever hesitate. And next week, I earned a leadership retreat with Christina and Andrew Watts. So I'm going to be in Washington next week. Yeah. Yeah, Bill. Yep. And so we have a very special guest who's going to be hosting the call next week, Miss Morris Nagoski. She will be leading the call, and I am so excited to watch the replay of that one because the journey that she has been on, that I have been able to bear witness to, is just so incredible. So I know she's going to have some gold for you guys next week. So same place, Same time. Thank you all for being here. Tell your friends. There's no reason that we can't have at least half of what Monday through Friday accountability has here. And we know that there's some powerful conversations happening in here. So tell your friends. I'll see you guys. Well, I won't be here next week, but I'm going to watch the replay and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. But I'll see you guys all on Monday in accountability. Happy day one, week two. Let's go get it.
That was so good, Marcy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marie.